What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Junglejims podcast. What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Junglejims podcast. It's the holiday season, and boy, do I have a treat for you.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Did I just get Christmas crashed?
What fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
Oh! Hey, Shroom! Happy holidays, buddy!
Happy holidays to you, too. It has been a long time coming. I am so glad to be here.
Dude, I'm really glad to have you here. It has been a long time coming. I'm glad we did this. So everyone, if you're out there, look, I just Christmas crashed the actual podcast. So you got to get on WEBN social media and see what they've been up here at Junglejims today. But Shroom, you and I have known each other. I don't want to say how long because it'll make us feel weird about it. But it's been like 15 years.
Has it been?
Yeah. I cut that EP in like 2008.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah, I was going to ask you that because the first time that we met, where was it exactly?
Dude, it was in, I think it's like the corner by like Rookwood Commons there, right? It was the Shell, I think it was a Shell station, or maybe it was a gas station.
And I was doing a gig for WEBN.
Yeah, you were promoting, and they had you promoting like the place had chicken sandwiches or something. And I just remember I just come from the gym, and I was like, hell yeah, I want a chicken sandwich. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is yet. And then you talked, I was like, oh, that's Shroom. I know that voice. You know, it was an iconic moment.
Man, it really was, and little did I know at the time. I don't know what advice I gave you. I'm trying to remember, but whatever advice I gave you, it must have worked because here you are. This is mind-blowing. I am so proud of you, man.
Thanks,
dude. To be able to do this podcast, the Junglejims podcast, this is just so cool. You're the perfect person for this.
Thanks, dude.
What did I tell you?
Yeah, right? Well, you know, at the time, look, I always like to tell everybody, you know, being here in the Midwest and having big aspirations was a little tough back then, right? We were talking about just how even like the radio world has changed, where it was like there was no visual coverage. It was just your voice, and we knew you by voice, right? And as things evolved, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a hit, right? But I just remember I just cut this EP, and we were just chatting about music in the parking lot. And funny enough, I read the email the other day to myself. I went and looked it up. I still have it. And we were just talking about music because around that time, I think this is when you were singing in Reaper.
Yep, that's right. Oh, that throws me back. My metal band, Reaper.
Dude, I remember being like, oh, damn, Shroom's got a killer voice. I was just like, that's a dude. And I was like, it was supremely my alley, right? Yeah. And I just cut this EP, and I didn't know, and I was trying to do the music thing for a long time. I just remember sending you a cut, and you were very, very enthusiastic about the song I'd written. I was just like, oh, okay, let's do this. And you gave me some airtime at a time when, look, to be serious, at a time when I wasn't anything special. You took a chance on a kid at a gas station. And I got some great airplay. And I'll never forget, you were like, and so in the email, one of the last things you go, hey man, check WBN.com in like an hour. And I was like, okay. Now, again, this is like pre-smartphone era. So I'm at like Mount Adams Pavilion later on some other project I'm doing, and we're trying to pull it up there. And then there's a picture of me and my then band right on. It was like, WBN supports locals. Check out the press club. Anyway, it was that little bit of encouragement truly that I needed at a time from somebody that was in your position. And I won't cry on air ever. But no, unless somebody's paying me a lot of money. But no, dude, you gave me that encouragement I really needed, and your enthusiasm, and you've always been a really good supporter of like the local scene, and you're just genuinely enthusiastic and excited. I love it about you, dude.
Yay! Well, you know, it's a fun job, and look, you're welcome. I'm speechless, really. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it makes me feel proud to do what I do, and that, you know, that I did inspire you. You know, that's crazy.
And you still do.
Yeah, man. Well, you are such a down-to-earth, cool dude yourself, and multi-talented. I mean, with being able to, you know, be a musician, you can sing, you can, you know, you're musical, you obviously can do this. The stuff that you do in your TV commercials you're doing are fantastic.
Thanks, man.
I am just genuinely so proud of you. What you have done, Mark.
Thanks, man.
Keep it up. And I know there's something, dude, this isn't the end for you. This is just the beginning for Mark, because I know that there's something coming. You're going to be like that flow, you're going to score a gig like that too, that's going to be a huge endorsement for something. I don't know. So. It's coming. You are that, you got that special personality to make it happen. So
I really appreciate that, man. Well, hey, look, it's charcuterie time, right? We should at least plug that. It was like, listen, everybody, it's holiday season, so Shroom and I were Shroom-cutery. But we're like, you can make your own charcuterie board at the charcuterie deli, or we even have pre-made ones. That was pretty exciting. Yeah. I don't know what to try in here. I thought I would try something. I don't know. I'm not a big olive guy.
Okay. Oh, I like olives.
Okay,
yeah,
cool. I got some olives over on this side.
All right.
I was going to ask while we were doing this, though. I'm going to try one of these first, I think. Right. First off, we have these are the 4 cleanest hands in the Midwest, for sure.
That's right.
I might have one more, but she's not here today. Seriously, I lovingly refer to us as the Surgeon Generals.
Yes.
Dude. How long have you been doing the radio thing? You started young, didn't you?
Okay, yeah. I was 15 years old when I started at a radio station in Salina, Ohio, WKKI, K94 FM, the sports voice of choice. Their other slogan was, the past, present, future's best, K94 FM. And, I'm this 15-year-old kid. I worked on the weekends. I got to board up Reds games. And then anytime, like, the Reds weren't on and I had a chance to go live, of course I'm going live. I'm going through the CDs on the wall. It was just to think that I started at 15. I'm 42 now. Yeah. And this is really the only job that I've ever had. I did go to college, graduated from college and all that, but I always, I always just loved radio. I love music, so that's kind of what got me into it in the first place. But it's a trip to be born and raised in Ohio and to not have to bounce all over the country like a lot of radio DJs have to get to a radio station as legendary as WEBN. So, I'm now, it's almost 18-ish years with WEBN. I've worked for iHeart back when it was Clear Channel it was like 20, I'm coming up on 23 years already.
That's amazing.
With one company, solid run. That's something that really is kind of unheard of in my business. So
for real,
I'm so proud of that, and I'm grateful to the company. I am for keeping me aboard. I'm grateful for the family, the Guarneri family, who hired me when I was a 15-year-old kid. They got it all going. I still stay in touch with them, and it's just to figure out what you want to do at 15 years old. I remember walking into that radio station, Mark. Yeah, that was a high school friend of mine. He is we were in choir class together. I found out he did a Sunday morning show, like 6 a.m. in the morning. And I said, man, can I come in and watch you sometime? He said, sure. So I had my dad drive me to the radio station because I'm 15, couldn't even drive yet. Right. 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I go up the steps to the radio station. I turn the corner. Here is Jeff sitting behind the board, his stack of CDs. He's talking in that microphone. And I'll tell you what, man, it was that exact moment that I looked at him and I get the chills, dude, just thinking about it. I knew at that very moment when I was 15, that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
That's so cool.
And here I am, 42 years old, still doing it, man.
And what I love about you so much is how genuine your enthusiasm is for both just what you're doing for WBN and for iHeart. And iHeart's been really great to us here on Junglejims podcast and everything. Obviously I'll shout out you, John over there at KISS.
He's great. I love John.
Dude, they're just, you guys have really cultivated a lot of excellent talent. You know what I mean? You do. Look, it was really nice when I started this up and everybody from there reached out and were really cool about hey, congratulations on the gig. If we can do anything to help. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to get that on the iHeart app because I know we broadcast a podcast on there too.
Yep.
So it's very cool.
The iHeart Radio, just how they switched to that name, iHeart Radio, and then they created an app that it's pretty mind blowing if you think about it. That my company creates the iHeart Radio app, and technically there's, our competitors are even on this app if you want to listen to them. That's how big this app is. I don't know. It's kind of mind-boggling.
It really is. No, it's so cool though. It's crazy to think about.
And then the podcast. Podcasts are huge. You jumped aboard right at the beginning of when the perfect time to do a podcast.
Oh yeah. It's crazy to think back, well, when this all kicked off, because I think you were maybe one of the few people I told early on, because I was like, well, he understands the industry. He won't ruin my career. He's done the exact opposite the entire time for me so far. And it was crazy to think about, because it was that thing. Well, I joked earlier, you and I were both pretty adamant about not leaving the house during 2020 and even 21. And this was like the first time, outside of when Pepsi floated a paycheck to me for that commercial, but it was like the first time I'd left the house. And so, I mean, again, building this up, and I remember at the end of 2021 being like, I got to go in finally.
Yeah, you got to see all the people shopping, around junglejims. This is such a cool place. I mean, there is no other, I can't think of another grocery store like it. I mean, people obviously come from all over to come to junglejims. I've brought my kids here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just such a neat place. And your selection of, I got to say, of beverages, I mean, holy cow, it's insane. And as someone who, we've talked about this before, I've been sober from alcohol for 15, coming on almost 16 years now.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And through the years, there's been more and more different choices. And junglejims, I'm grateful for places like this that have a massive selection of NA beers. When I stopped drinking, regular beer back in the day, I mean, all those years ago, there wasn't a lot of choices.
No.
So to have those choices now, it is great. So thanks to junglejims for carrying all these. This is the Urban Artifact seedless strawberry non-alcoholic fruit tart, and it is delicious.
It's good, right? Yeah. I fridged those up intentionally, knowing that you were coming in today. I was like, just in case, or at least I thought you were coming anyway.
Thank you.
So,
You're like, one of these days, Shroom will be here for the podcast.
That's right. I'll be prepared. They've been in there for the 2 years I've been here. It's like one day. No.
Yeah.
But that was a new one, and I honestly, I really liked them too. They there's a mango flavor too. I did. It reminded me a little. It's like a fresh soda. It tastes like a soda somebody cared about for me.
Right? I could, and I see it has 0.5% alcohol by volume in it, which I'm totally fine with. To each their own. I mean, there's some people that wouldn't even drink an NA beer.
Sure.
And I totally understand that. Me, it's just, I can pound NA beers and not feel guilty about it, even if there's 0.5% in it. I mean, I'd have to literally probably bong like 8 of these or something to get like a full.
Right? You're like, but he said 2%.
So I feel fine with it. And I like the taste of beer. I really do.
Yeah.
So obviously a bit too much, and that's why I stopped drinking, because I do like beer. I really do, and alcohol in general. And unfortunately, it's like once I get going, I try to stop many times, but once you start get going, and it's just I'm off and running, man. Yeah. There's no stopping. Next thing you know, I'm stripping off things, articles of clothing, running around. Yeah, we'll just,
See, I don't even have an excuse for it. I've just been doing it, and people keep hiring me for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh. Is this who's the problem on now?
Right, you'll go bathe in a bowl of chili.
Listen, I'm inviting you for the hot tub next time. We're gonna get a much bigger one, but I want to get every important voice in the city in the hot tub with me.
Oh, that would be a fun broadcast. Yeah, you got to do that, and I will definitely be a part of that.
That'd be
Count
awesome.
me in.
It was funny. Sarah was here earlier, and she's, by the way, so great, a great addition to the WBN family now too. Sarah, love you. Thanks for all the love as well. But no, she was pitching doing something in the pool out front, and I've been every year I've been here. I'm like, we got to do a junglejims pool party. So maybe this is the year. Maybe there's some sort of collaboration.
Oh yeah, I'd be down with that. The pool party, a hot tub party. Really, any party at Junglejims sounds good to me. This place is a party. I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's nuts. There's nothing like it. I love it.
Well, dude, I'm so glad you came in and did this with me.
Man,
you made my day. You've made a lot of my look. I mean, I not to harp on it again, but seriously, at a time when there weren't a lot of interesting jobs out there, right? Where it was like, you had the interesting job. I was like, how do I get on that guy's level? I mean, that was really how I thought. But you really did something very important for me, which was gave me the encouragement to keep going at a time when a lot of people didn't even really understand what I was trying to do with my life. You know what I mean?
Well, man, I'm just glad I was able to inspire you in any way that I did. I mean, it means a lot to hear you say that. So
yeah, man, keep doing it. I think you've probably done it for a lot of people.
I guess, I don't know.
I appreciate your humility.
I don't really, I don't always think about it, I'm just kind of doing this job that really isn't a job and hoping I never have to work a real day in my life. And isn't this crazy?
It's crazy.
Really, we're living the dream. It's nuts. And I feel so blessed to have had this career as long as I have. And you're going, you're doing the same thing. I mean, this is a trip to look around here and know that Jungle Gyms, they built this studio for you, my friend. This is crazy. I mean, they based it all around you. You have, I got it. This rug is nuts.
Okay, bring it out.
Rug. I mean, what the heck? I don't have a rug like this.
Well, we can get you one.
This is nuts. I mean, dude, I am blown away. This is a whole nother level.
Well, see, that was made because I was just like, I'm going to go and control when people walk all over me.
No, I wouldn't. I would step over that. I wouldn't dare step on your face. No. Oh man, what a good time!
Seriously.
I have to come back in and hang with you. This is so
anytime.
much fun, and I got to have you come in and be on
Let's do something fun
WEBN and be
together.
a
I'm
part of
down.
my show.
Let me know, dude. Whenever, I'm always happy to be there. So,
I mean,
thanks for everything you do, dude. Truly,
Hey.
we appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thanks,
Keep
buddy.
following your dreams.
I will.
Keep making me proud, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
I love it.
Just think of the shenanigans in the future when it keeps getting weirder. You know you're on that short list. I'm definitely, everyone's like, don't forget where you came from. I was like,
Right.
well, I'm not anywhere yet, but I promise I'll remember. Now they have proof too, so.
All right.
That's awesome, man. All right, anything fun coming up at EBN that we should be aware of or anything you want us to follow you on?
Oh, man. Well, there's always stuff going on at EBN. I mean,
Yeah.
WEBN.com. Make sure you follow. You can go to the website. I mean, follow us on the Facebook. We're on all the social media. You can just search for, 1027 WEBN. We're the FM home of the Cincinnati Bengals. We have the Kid Chris show in the morning, with Sarah Elise.
Yeah.
Who, is a great addition, as you said. I mean, Nudge is a good buddy of mine. I want to plug him real quick.
Yeah, Nudge is awesome.
Nudge, I know you've known him. He hosts he does overnights, but he also hosts our local show on WEBN, Native Noise, which we've done for decades, playing local musicians like yourself. And
Yeah.
so, WEBN's a heritage station across the country, and it's just an honor to be a part of it. I love Cincinnati, and I love working for WEBN, man. It's a dream come true, dude.
It's so nice to hear. Look, I mean, I think people think we have cool jobs already, but it's like you genuinely feel it in these moments where we're just like, yeah, dude, this is so awesome.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
We came around today and made weird videos in a grocery store. What a strange life,
Oh, yeah, right. I know, which you'll see as well on the WEBN socials. Yeah, it was a lot of fun shooting those here.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, definitely check those out, too. Again, thanks so much for coming out, buddy. All right.
Hey.
What do you say? Can we get a cheers and maybe can we do a ribbit together?
Cheers. Let's do it. Ready?
Yep.
Go rock yourself, WEBN.
Shroom, thanks for coming out. Looking forward to being high atop Frogs Mountain as well. All right, look, that was a nice little surprise for all of you that watching the show, right? That was so cool. I love a genuine, enthusiastic person, and it's my job to turn you all on to other really cool people here. So I'm gonna keep eating the charcuterie board. But I want to introduce you to Hannah here. Hannah owns her own construction and remodeling company. I think the coolest part, and I don't want to spoil the interview, but she professionally rides electric unicycles, amongst other things. She's a very cool person, has been lauded with awards locally, and she is killing it. She's in her mid-20s. It's insane. Let's introduce you to Hannah, shall we? So
is the on-air
Yes.
sign on out there?
Nobody ever paid attention to it. That was like one of our first things.
I noticed it as soon as I got here. I went, I hope that he makes sure that's on when we come in here. I've already noticed a couple of people going by like with their buggy.
Just looking through, they're like, what are they doing in there?
Yeah, what are they doing?
I love that. I don't know. What are we doing here? Hi, Hannah, by the
Hi,
way.
hello. I'm Hannah. Thanks for having me on. I've been really looking forward to this.
Yeah, likewise. Give us the rundown. Who are you? Why are you in my office?
So my name is Hannah Wells, and I am local to Cincinnati, born and raised. Primarily, I spend a lot of my time in this city, specifically running my construction company.
Cool.
So I have it's home remodeling business, and it's called Rep General Contracting.
Cool.
Been in business for a little over 4 years now, and we specialize in real estate redevelopment. So I am taking these homes that a lot of which in this area in particular were built around the 1990s. Mm-hmm. So in Westchester, Liberty Township,
Sure.
and surrounding areas, a lot of those homes were builder homes that were that were built in the late to early 90s, early 2000s. And they're all kind of reaching a point collectively where they're going, wow, this gold trim in our bathrooms and these oak cabinets have got to go. And so cue Hannah, I've stepped in now, and that's what we specialize in. Mostly kitchens and bathroom remodels, but we do everything from decks to concretes to additions. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I love it. I love what I do. Being a woman in this industry has been a challenge, but it has been one that I have definitely taken head on. I absolutely love it. So
well, and you're also really young too.
I am 25 years old.
That's amazing. So by the way, congratulations on all of your success. You deserve it.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
we love a hard worker.
Yes, absolutely. And I've made this career has become my passion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily something that I thought that I was going to go into. When I was a little girl and you fill out the form and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be an actress and a singer and a teacher and an attorney and a doctor. And it changed over the years. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And this kind of fell into my lap. I had a pretty early start in life, so I had a pretty non-traditional upbringing, and I spent some time in foster care. I moved out on my own very early, so I was pushed into adulthood at the ripe age of 16 years old, got my first place, started working, and my first job was actually for a roofing company.
Oh, no kidding.
So I worked for a roofing company local to Harrison. I did that for about a year, and then I moved into property management, and then I worked for another large construction outfit in Cincinnati. And from there, I just knew that this was going to be my niche. And I was really good at it. So I picked it up and I threw my heart into it, my heart and soul into it. And I think with anything, nobody is born good at things.
Oh, no,
you know what I mean? Nobody's born an expert in flat roofing or
Right.
anything like that. But if you put your all into
That'd be so weird.
it wouldn't
You're like, dude, he's only 4 years old, but you should see the way he lays tile.
Exactly,
I'm
right.
like, yeah, maybe I will have kids.
Yeah, right. So I just threw everything into it, and it's been really awesome. I can't take all the credit. I have an awesome team,
Of course.
under me that helps make this dream happen. But we're still small. We've got 7 people on our team. So, and we're remodeling kitchens and baths and everything all over the city. So we make it happen.
It's incredible.
For sure.
So you said something a second ago. It's really funny. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and it was somebody I haven't talked to in a while. It's funny. So you mentioned the actor thing, but he was talking to me just about his passions and creativity. And the thing he brought up at some point was like, growing up, I just thought if you were passionate enough about something, it would happen. And he goes, and I'm unfortunately starting to realize that there's a few more things that
You have to
into
do.
beyond that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's like I think really the equation is something like passion plus work ethic or just showing up. Well, you know what? You actually told a great story about meeting Jungle for the first time.
I did, yeah.
I think we should lean into that a little bit because that'll tie into my point here.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my first jobs, it wasn't my very first, but one of them was actually working here at Junglejims at 17 years old. Now, I will just let you guys know in advance, that did not last. I was gone after about 2 weeks. I did not get fired, but I did quit. Sorry, Jungle. I just could not memorize all the produce. It just got a little too overwhelming. Yeah. But Jungle was walking around in the produce section, and he was checking out the produce. And I remember somebody who worked here telling me, oh, Jungle's in the building. He's here. Yeah. And I thought, oh, great. My instinct, the type of person that I am, is I need to go meet him. I want to go meet the owner my second day on the job and shake his hand at 17 years old. And so I did. I walked up to him and I said, oh, I'm so happy to be here. It's nice to meet you. My name's Hannah. Yeah. And I'm glad to be here, but I just want to let you know I'm going to start my own company one day. And it just might be your company that I take over. Just joking. And he laughed at that, and I went back to work. Which
is crazy now that you are the owner of the building.
Yeah, right. No, in case you guys didn't know, I'm Mrs. Jungle Gym at this point. No, but I definitely have never been afraid to kind of jump into that pool of uncomfortability, because I feel firmly that uncomfortability breeds growth.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's kind of been my motto. And I think kind of circling back to what you said about you need passion and you need a few other things. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that not enough people touch on is you really have to have a sense of humility. In any business, like I said, nobody is born an expert in anything that they do. Right. So you have to suck at it. at first. You got to go in and you got to suck, and you're probably going to suck for a little while.
Yeah.
But consistency and a sense of humility when you do make mistakes and you show an eagerness to learn is what's going to help you grow.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
people get in their head too much. They try something, they fail, and they go, I'm not good at this. But the reality is that you can get good at anything as long as you're consistent.
Yeah. I think people they touched on the embarrassment thing too. Was there anything for you that helped you overcome that? Or I look at myself and I go, for me, it's just, I'm just like, turn the gas up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm afraid of this. Just go.
Yeah,
That's the
sure.
way through.
You can't overthink of it. So for me, I think that this circles back to my upbringing a little bit. So most of my adolescence and my childhood, I was put in very uncomfortable situations.
Sure.
And although that was really unfortunate at the time, that pressure created the young woman that I am today.
Yeah.
So feeling, it was more just experiencing the uncomfortability constantly. And I think as I became an adult and I really started to explore the impact of my childhood and my adolescence and how it made me into who I am today, I realized that there is a lot of power in just putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions. So for instance, for me, like I have never had a desire to jump out of an airplane.
Right.
I hate heights. I'm not a big fan. They're one of my biggest fears. But I've thought about it more recently because my husband has mentioned multiple times that he wants to go skydiving. And although it terrifies me, I've now all of a sudden I've started to like think about this in my head. How would I do it? And I know that I would get up there and I would force myself to jump out. Like there would be no question. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that that's the big thing is knowing it's going to be uncomfortable, accepting that. This
Yeah.
is not going to be easy. This is going to be weird. But the sooner that you jump into it, the better off you'll be. The sooner it'll be over with. And then
Right.
the next time it's going to be a lot easier.
Well, it was like we were joking about the sampling foods and other things. We were just like, this is a speck.
Yeah.
This is one grain of sand in the beach that is your life. You'll never
Absolutely.
remember it necessarily.
Yeah.
You'll never remember the bad part of it.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
It's so beautiful. I just see that so often in both the creative space. I see it a lot in my personal life where people are really struggle with that first part where they're just like, I'm just going to be bad at this. And you're like, well, you don't really have to be. And like,
Sure.
you said it so well, it is consistency. Look, I always think of this quote from a cartoon where he's like, sucking at something's the first step to being sort of good at something.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
absolutely.
it's like
It's
the
true.
most real thing you could ever hear. And
And I think it's important to admit that, and jumping into this industry, because I am still young.
Yeah.
I would say that this home remodeling and real estate redevelopment in a whole is a dying trade. Young people like me are not going into this industry. And a lot of the people who are in this industry have decades and decades of experience.
Right.
So I like to tell people I took a crash course on construction because I had to make a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And so I was fortunate enough that I had a lot of clients that gave me grace. And that was tied directly to the humility that I had and demonstrated when I did make a mistake. I showed them that I had a level of integrity that prompted them to give me that grace.
Right.
Hey, I didn't set this tile like, I really wanted to. I would like an opportunity to take it down and to redo it. And that happened when I first started a couple of times. I had to go back and I had to fix things. But that's the big thing in life. And I think that applies to not only whatever business venture you go into, but the relationships, personal relationships that you have. Is just owning up to it and asking for an opportunity to make it right. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to let you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The biggest issue that people have these days with contractors are unwilling to fix their mistakes, or they see something and they're, they have a terrible rap. I mean, I have to say my competition makes it pretty easy on me to get a lot of work in the city because there's a different approach that I've taken in this industry. For instance, I was told when I first started, because I love to mentor people, once again, putting myself in those uncomfortable positions. I can't tell you how many times I met with a 50-year-old contractor, for lunch randomly one day and said, hey, I want to learn about what you do.
Right.
And they told me the 2 biggest rules were don't make friends with your clients and do not give them design consult. So I do both now. When you are working in somebody's home for 4 months at a time, doing a super extensive project, and you meet their children and their pets and their everybody,
And you know the names like by
their
heart.
names. You walk through the door and you're being greeted. I
Right.
mean, you have to develop a friendship with them. I would
Right.
want somebody that I really trust to be the one working in my home.
Sure.
And then the design aspect of it, I like I said, I had a lot of interactions with these disgruntled contractors that said, I will never tell somebody what color paint to pick or what color grout to pick or what I think is going to look good because it always bites you in the butt.
Right.
And I thought, well, you must be doing something wrong because most of these people come to me and they go, Hannah, I have no idea what to do with this space. Like I need something. I need some sort of insight. So kind of tying those together has been really beneficial.
Well, I'd also wager that there's a level of like emotional intelligence that comes with that too, where you can probably read the room a little bit to know, all right, this is somebody who I can be way more forthcoming with, like, here are some ideas I have, versus someone who's like, I need your help, but they maybe have an idea that they just can't verbalize or express somehow. You know what I mean? But I think that again comes back to this is just something you learn along the way. Yeah. So it's like, I get it.
No, and it's funny that reading the room is like directly tied to childhood trauma. When you deal with those situations when you're younger, and this is how you empower yourself as an adult to take those experiences that were unfortunate and make create something beautiful out of them.
Right.
I have a lot of really awesome tools that I can use in life now because of those things. So as a child, I had learned to pick up on people's reactions and how to read a room really well. And nowadays I can walk into, somebody's home and pick up on social cues very, very quickly.
Sure.
And I think that it gives me the ability to connect with people on a deeper level too. I'm not like a surface level type of person. I mean, I am an open book. When I meet you, what you see is what you get. And I prefer it that way. It's a lot easier to keep up with that than to put on an act. So it's helpful. And when you're working in people's homes, I mean, let's face it, you're dealing with two of the most emotionally tied areas of their life. So you're dealing with their money and their house.
Right.
And there's a lot of emotion in both of those.
Yeah, so like, these are the two things I feel most safe around.
Right. And so you have to develop a trusting connection with those people, and you can't be afraid to do that. If you don't get the job or you're rejected in some form, there's always going to be another opportunity.
Right.
But I think that it sets us apart. I have no regrets in that instance. I'll show you guys our logo. So
it's time. I've been waiting for the wardrobe reveal.
So our logo is a tie and a hammer. And I drafted this logo. This was in 2020. COVID, the whole world was just freaking out. And I had the brilliant idea that I was going to quit my very comfortable full-time job and start a company, even though everyone advised against it. Yeah. And I came up with this logo because like I said before, my very last job that I worked before starting my own company was for a construction company. And I just knew that there had to be a way to tie together the two aspects of a contractor that usually are separated. So you have the older gentleman that I referred to earlier who is, probably getting close to retirement age. He is damn good at what he does. Okay. He is, his craftsmanship is, top tier. But maybe he's not as professional. He kind of does things the old school way. He's not going to help with design. He's going to scribble his estimate on a piece of paper and he's going to hand it to you. And he's just going to be pretty cut and dry. And then you have the other type of contractor that'll show up to your house in a suit and tie, and he will sell you. He'll have the colorful brochures. He'll get you to sign a contract that day, and then he'll subcontract all the work out, and you have people working in your home that you've never seen before. Sure. So there had to be a way to tie that together. And so that's exactly what this logo represents. We have, the tie to represent the professionalism that we bring to this industry, and the hammer to represent the quality workmanship that we bring. So
simple to the point. Out. I love it.
Yeah, I go to Home Depot and my guys wear these shirts and everybody's like, oh, I need to get one of those. And I definitely need one. So I'm thinking I might, brand something.
Just do like a merch page. Hey,
I was thinking, but then at the same time, I don't know if I want like anybody wearing these shirts with our logo on them doing work.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. And because what's the fan base like? You know what I mean?
Sure. You got a guy driving around. He gets, he's driving drunk or something, and he's all over the news. And of course, he has the tie and the hammer shirt on, and then they associate
that's not one of my. We just sold a lot of T-shirts. We love T-shirts.
Right. Absolutely. So, no, it's been really successful. I think one thing that I kind of jumped into this year was media marketing, like figuring out how to make, videos that were going to appeal to people while still leaving them with a small company feel that we have because we are small. So you see like a commercial for, a remodeling company. Some people are going to be less likely to pursue that option because they know it's a big corporation. Right. But I still wanted to be able to present what we do in a fashion that's really easy. Yeah. And I'm sure in what you do that micro videos have become the next big thing. I mean,
yeah, I joke all the time. Like, why did I go to school?
Yeah,
realistically, right?
Seriously,
because it's like that thing now where I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter at all. I'm just going to shoot this on my. Funny enough, that same friend I was mentioning in the earlier story, so his thing was a film related thing. He goes, well, this guy asked me to send a photo. What do I need? And I was like, listen, dude, you can shoot a professional headshot and it'll look great. It'll show them that you care. But realistically, I see people submit stuff all the time and it's like the worst selfie you could take.
Yeah.
It'd be like me sending him like, hopefully this background's not too distracting.
Sure. And with AI now, you have the ability to take a really horrible headshot and just put it into an app, an AI
Tweak
app.
it out a little bit.
And they make a professional, you get like 100 different scenic, styles of a professional headshot.
My artist friends get very mad at me when I say this, but I'm like, AI's been way more reliable than all of you I've hired. So listen, I'm not trying to be that guy, but
I think that it's a double-edged sword because it is kind of
it's an ethical nightmare. Clearly, you know what I mean.
Is.
But at the same time, I had this discussion with a friend yesterday though, where I was just like, sorry, now that we're going to totally derail here, but they were like,
you're fine.
They were like, well, it's ripping artists off, and I was like, so are other artists. That's how humans work.
It's true.
We're just mad that we're like, oh wait, there's a monthly fee for it.
No, absolutely. And I think that there are a lot of resources that have helped companies, especially during the last few years, as we've watched the innovation when it comes to AI and ChatGPT. My gosh, one of my strong suits used to be English and public speaking.
Yeah.
I was in Business Professionals of America when I was a teenager, and I went all the way to nationals in California for public speaking in particular. And now, figuring out how to put things into words and present them in a professional or catchy manner that's going to draw people's attention can be done with ChatGPT. All you have to do is plug in, like from an advertising perspective, when you're trying to figure out how to post things on social media with a nice caption that's going to draw people in and it's not repetitive. ChatGPT.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
And just have it. And it's fun.
And
it's like that. You can really manipulate the results in a very helpful way too.
Yeah.
Look, what I really like it for is I still love writing, and I'll sometimes put like if I have like. If it's a topic or a conversation I don't know much about,
sure,
I will do a lot. I would say honestly, more of my job is doing research than almost anything else, which is sort of funny. Yeah. But on top of that, though, if it's still a thing where I'm like, all right, I'll write a list of questions and I'll feed my questions to it and be like, what did I not think about?
Sure.
And then it'll be like, hey, what about these topics that relate to this? And
it's definitely resourceful.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I keep getting these surveys from Google who are trying to compare Google search to like ChatGPT.
Yeah, which they're completely...
They're not the same. And it's like the same question. Like, well, why would you use ChatGPT over Google search? I was like, Google search isn't doing my homework, dog. It's just showing me a link.
You have the ad, like the sponsored ads on Google that are also a little misleading. I mean...
Well, I think they just came out recently and discovered how misleading those are, where now it is really... And look, I get it. Everything's a business and everything's a scam and a hustle a little bit.
Sure.
But they are starting now to really prioritize not even good search results over that stuff. And look, we joked about conspiracy theories before we started this. This is my new one.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want me to know about it.
Sure. Well, and I think about the people who aren't really tech savvy and they go to Google, for instance, I'll use my type of industry as an example. Yeah. They Google, general contractors near me. And the first 5 results, the very first 5 are going to be companies that have paid to be on the top, of Google searches. It doesn't matter if they've got terrible reviews. It doesn't matter if they don't have any reviews. If they pay that flat rate a month, they're going to show up first. And for people who aren't technologically, in tune, they're going to see it and they're going to go, oh, this is the one. It's the first one that popped up. They're going to call the first 5 and they're going to move on with their day.
It's the old Yellow Pages setup where you're just like, oh, it's AAA is the name of the company, so they got to be good. They're the first one, right?
Sure, right. But I think more people are really starting to rely on reviews that you see on the internet because these days, back in the day, you used to give people a list of referrals. You know, you can call all of these past customers of mine, or here's my portfolio. You'd have a portfolio you'd give them of all the work that you've done. But nowadays people don't do that. They don't want you to give out their phone number. They don't want you to do that. So we rely heavily on reviews.
Sure.
And they're really important. And I've noticed that you know, when you are rated pretty highly on Google, even if you don't pay for the sponsorships, which I do not. I refuse to do that. You will still show up pretty high, you know, on the ranking for that. So just keep working away at those reviews. I'm very review oriented. Every time we finish a job, I let my clients know before we even start, you know, if I can't get a 5 out of 5 star review out of you, I've wasted my time. So if there's anything along the way that is going to, you know, give you a reason to leave that 5-star review, or you need something else to, you know, push that. Please,
you're like, how can I earn this from you?
Yes, absolutely. Because that's gold to a small business.
And
it is.
I think, honestly, I feel like more customers should be appreciative of that too, because it is like, that is it. Like, I would want someone to be like, no, Mark, listen, I had a bad customer service experience with a company that we actually sell some of their product in the store. And I was like, you wanted to be a jerk to me over $6.
Yeah,
like, this should not, like, you should have just been friendly from the jump. And I'm always like, it's so weird when those moments happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, going back to your review point too, I kind of think that's sort of, and in my head, I'm like, maybe the bubble's about to burst on this.
Sure.
But that's why I think all the influencer marketing became so popular in the recent years.
Absolutely.
But I think we're starting to hit that point now where you're like, I went to Wendy's and I had chili and it was so incredible. And
Yeah,
you're like, all right, maybe you're getting paid for this.
You're absolutely right.
Which, by the way, don't get me wrong, I'm like, I want to get paid for it too. But
sure.
So, but it's fascinating. I'm loving that you have such an eye for that end of just marketing yourself. You have to now.
Well, and I think there's a big difference between working with a large corporation and supporting small business. And I will scream it all day. Support small business. Right. And it's not just because, you know, we want to support these small businesses so that they can grow and they can, you know, we can just support their dreams and whatnot and not feed into these large corporations. But the biggest benefit to clients is that a small business owner cares far more about what you think about them than a corporation does.
Right.
Most of the time when you call, you know, a big corporation and you have a complaint, you're going to get somebody who's making bottom dollar wages to answer your phone, listen to your problems, and give you some response that is written on a script, and your problem is less likely to be resolved. As a small business owner, if a customer brings something to my attention that they're unhappy with, it is debilitating.
Right. Well, and it's brought to your attention.
It's brought to my attention.
Right. I mean, that's like the biggest part of it.
And there is nothing more, I think, that I want than to satisfy the people who give me an opportunity to earn their business.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times I've walked up to somebody's house and I've knocked on their door and they've asked me, you know, where's your boss? Or do you got a partner or something that's with you? You know, because they didn't expect me to be the owner of the company. Yeah. And there were a lot of individuals that gave me that chance to earn their business. Yeah. And that is, I mean, it's like a gateway to, you know, growing your company and being given that opportunity. So there's a lot of gratitude that has to be held there. You know, I think that a lot of larger corporations they're entitled to the business. Yeah. They're multi-billion-dollar corporations that they're going to have business regardless. Right. You know, if that person goes to Wendy's and they leave a review on the Wendy's page that, oh, this chili was horrible. It was the worst chili ever. Wendy's doesn't care.
Right.
You know,
they're just like, great, we'll get a 5-star from some other idiot in a minute.
Or we'll pay for, you know, 100 people from other countries to leave 5-star reviews, and that's it. Too. You know, because a lot of people do that too nowadays.
Damn, that's a good. That's my kind of scam now.
Yeah, right. There's got to be some money in that, I'm sure.
I'm sure there is. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, how many reviews do I need now?
Yeah, how many do you get? How much do you get paid per review? If I get paid $5 per review,
I think it's probably based
and I leave 100 reviews a day.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Hey, that'd be good. Look, I'm gonna just, as soon as we're done, I'm gonna open a new account for myself on Fiverr or one of those.
Yeah, right.
Like a little freelance thing. You know, we got almost a half hour in and we didn't even mention your Fairfield Award. What was, I was going to blow it. It was like Person of the Year. What was the actual title?
So I was voted last year City of Fairfield's Woman-Owned Business of the Year.
That's
and
so cool.
It was incredible. Thank you. And it did open up a lot of doors for me. You know, I had no intention of winning that award. I didn't think that I was going to get it. But I almost did not show up to the award ceremony because I just didn't expect it.
You don't give me the vibe that you are chasing that, if that makes sense.
not necessarily. You know, I am, and this is the long game for me, long road game. So I'm looking to building an empire, you know, based on my core values and what I want to bring to this industry. So I think that our work speaks for itself. But when I showed up to this award ceremony 5 minutes late, I could tell as soon as I walked in that the ladies there, yeah, right, show fashionably late.
Yeah, exactly. Most gangster thing you can do is leave your own party early.
Exactly right. So I could tell when I walked in, the ladies who were like hosting, they must have already known who won the awards. Like they knew before the ceremony.
Sure.
And they were like, "Oh, we're so glad you made it," you know. And I was like, "Oh, okay," you know. And I walked in and there were tables. Everybody, like family and friends of each nominee, had like rented tables. They had all their supporters there. I showed up alone. Like I had a table. I went and sat at somebody else's table because I didn't bring anybody with me. Like this was how unprepared I was. I did not expect to win this. And when they called my name, they, you know, put me on the spot. Hey, we need you to give a speech. And there were so many connections after that
cool,
day.
though.
So it was awesome. I was really, really proud of it.
And look at that. Another example of when showing up and taking the opportunity.
Just be uncomfortable.
Right. I do a lot of stuff alone just because it's like a lot of spontaneity in my life. And, you know, you never know I'm very much. Look, I think part of the reason I have the career and the life I've had is because most people say no when I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah, I can go home an hour later. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
You never know what you're going to find.
And it definitely applies to this industry too. You know, we have definitely set a standard for this industry with the fact that we don't like to say no to clients. You know, you are hiring me to solve your problems. I'm a professional problem solver.
Right.
So when you come to me and you say, hey, I really have this vision, you know, I have people who reach out to me and say, we've had 5 contractors come out and bid this job and none of them will get back to me. They won't return my calls or they won't even give us the bid. They'll come out, waste their gas and their time and then not follow up with us, which is
so weird.
It's absurd, but it happens so much more than you would think. I mean, I'm told that all the time. Just following through. Just show up, just follow through, and put yourself in that position. And 9 times out of 10, it'll work out in your favor.
I had this conversation with someone recently where I was like, I don't even know if I'm talented. I just keep saying yes.
Exactly.
And I'm
right.
like, I'm just cranked up at 120% drive all the time. I was like, that
100%.
counts for a lot, you know?
Well, you become a resourceful person as well.
Yeah. You learn a lot in those moments. I think that's one of those other things too that like maybe we didn't capture entirely, but like in addition to obviously, like you said, starting out not great and then growing through the consistency, but there's like all these other little tips you do pick up along the way.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and you have to be, you can't allow people who are good at it to intimidate you.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. When you get started in something, like I had explained to you that my husband and I ride one wheels professionally.
Oh yeah, I was. I feel like
we'll
that's
have
got
to
be
have another podcast to talk about
that. Should just be a closing story either way. But no, please.
So we ride and race one wheels professionally.
That's so
and
cool.
when we got into this sport, you know, I'm not as nearly as talented as some of the other people who race, but when I went to my first race, I was surrounded by some of the biggest names in the one wheel racing league. So, and I'll plug them: Rachel Cecil, Allison Stanley, Mandy McFly, all of these amazing, talented women.
Mandy McFly, is that her real name too?
Her name is Amanda Thompson, but she goes by Mandy McFly.
No, I was like partly hoping it's a pseudonym, but also if not, that is the coolest name ever.
So McFly.
Yeah,
like she is one of the coolest girls out there.
Amazing.
But so these ladies are like, they have huge Instagram followings and they race and they're just so badass. And I jumped into this and the first thought that I had in my head is, oh my gosh, these people are so good and I'm a beginner still. And so you deal with those like self-depreciating thoughts and everybody has them.
Right, of
we
course.
all struggle with those.
Yeah.
But that it all circles back around once again to uncomfortability. So the first thing that you do in a situation like this, and this can apply to anything, not just one wheel racing, but anything that you want to do, find the people who are good at it, have that sense of humility, go to them and say, hey, how do I get good at this?
Yeah.
And allow their strengths and their talents to be reflected on you so you can pick them up more easily. And usually if you go up to somebody who's really good at something and you say, hey, you're really good at this, I'm inspired by it, can you teach me? They're going to feel so honored. You know, that was an immediate ego boost. They're going to feel honored. They're going to want to help you.
Yeah.
And now you just got free education.
Exactly. I think a lot
So
of
it
people
works.
get so caught up, and I'm sure that's the problem for 90% of it, though. For so many people, is that they just get caught up in the.
Well, it's our
the
ego,
thought
and,
loop,
and
yeah.
we live in an era now where comparison between everybody in society is just at an all-time high.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
crazy.
open your phone, and as you know, whether you're a man or a woman or a young person or an older person, you are presented with hundreds of thousands of people who have a bigger house than you, who have a better, they're more attractive than you. They are harder at working
Let's not
than you
go
are.
crazy.
Yeah, right. Whatever it may be, you are constantly comparing yourself to other people.
Absolutely,
And it's not even intentional. It's subconscious almost.
Right,
So,
you're just like scrolling, and you're like, oh, they're having a good day.
Yeah.
Well, why is mine?
why
doing
I'm just
that? It's
sitting
like
in my bed scrolling on my phone, and
Right.
they're out, changing the world and stuff. So it's intimidating, and it's hard to get out of that thought process.
Yeah.
But I would say that's going to be essential to anybody's success, is to stop comparing yourself to other people. I'm a firm believer that competition happens at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So collaboration happens at the top.
It's really true.
And so the contractors that are in this city that are doing really well, those are people I want in my network.
Yeah.
I want to collab with them. I want to figure out how we can be better and how we can chase those dreams.
It's going to create. It's the growth mindset, and it's
Yeah.
funny to hear how this comes up on the show all the time.
Sure.
Because it comes up is a real problem in creative spaces.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know exists everywhere.
Sure.
But creatives in particular, I think because there's especially in the Midwest, there's
Yeah.
like so little action here to do
Oh, yeah.
some of those things. I mean, way more now than there has been ever.
Sure.
But it's like, compared to a city.
Comparatively, yeah.
Look, if you're a comedian, you're like, oh, do I want to be in Cincinnati or do I want to be in New York City? Probably New York,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
But you see that all the time. And one of the things that's so frustrating is that there's so little collaborative spirit there. So it is so refreshing to me anytime I meet someone. I don't know. It makes me, in a weird way, for me, it's like, oh, I'm doing the right thing, kind of.
Sure,
And
sure.
empowering. And I'm hoping that, well, look, I didn't think this would be the theme of the Jungle Gyms podcast
Sure,
ever,
sure.
but it happens
This
all
is
the
an
time.
inspirational podcast.
But it kind of it has sort of become that way. But I like that. I think
Yeah.
people need that stuff. And,
For sure.
in between like the weird and silly stuff I try to produce, I think it's really important because I'm sort of hoping that we change people's minds on a grander scale.
Absolutely.
As dumb as that
Absolutely.
might sound, as maybe trite even, but I'm like, we could all just have fun together instead of hating each other.
No,
right?
yeah.
That's
and,
on
and
the list.
For sure. And it's people underestimate the ability to spread light and how minuscule that light has to be to make a difference in someone's life.
Absolutely.
And I will touch on one last subject too with you. So that applies to a non-profit organization that I have called Warmth for Sensi. And that's actually how I think I shared a little bit of this with our friend Billy. And
And again, we got to almost do this. Billy Sutherland, thank
Yes,
you.
he's
He's a little bit of the reason why I'm here.
Absolutely.
So-
No, he's a character, and I've heard so many amazing things about him. I had a client who I did a master bath remodel for,
Yeah.
and they, of course, spoke so highly of me to Billy, and I went to the New Path gala that they have every year. So New Path used to be St. Joe's Orphanage,
Okay.
and they are now New Path, and so I went to the gala. I was invited there, and that's how I met Billy.
Oh,
I
cool.
met a lot of people there. And my heart kind of is tied to St. Joe's because they had some involvement in my life, that orphanage did, and
Yeah.
my brother's life. And so I talked to him a little bit about how I have this nonprofit called Warmth for Sensi. And we are actually coming up on December 16th on our annual day of giving. So I started this 5 years ago. This is before I even started my company. I had been presented with a story on the news that I saw about a gentleman who actually passed away because of the extreme temperatures downtown. He was homeless. And so that really touched my heart. And I thought there has to be something that I can do to help our community during this time. And so I just started collecting coats and hats and gloves from people.
Yeah.
And now that has turned into, my small apartment that I had where I had filled a room, with a couple of bins of coats and hats. Now I have a house in Fairfield, and my entire garage, almost floor to ceiling is filled with coats, hats, gloves, hygiene products, hand warmers, shoes, non-perishable food items. And so every year we go downtown and we actually distribute these items directly to Cincinnati's homeless community. We don't take them to an organization. We get involved in the streets and we give these directly to the people that need them. And so we're coming up on that on December 16th at Pyatt Park, I think is how it's said, in Clifton. We will be doing an outreach event, and it's only one day a year. So if you like the, interacting with people who are in need and getting that, that service in, it's a great opportunity. You can look us up on Facebook. Warmth for Cincy is how it's spelled on Facebook. You can volunteer your time. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to register. Just show up. And we're going to be serving a hot meal to, approximately 200 members of Cincinnati's homeless community. And we're going to set up what is essentially a free shopping experience for them.
Oh, that's
so they're
cool.
able to get a coat and shoes and gloves and hats and, new underwear and socks and the things that they need to get them through those harsh winter months. So I shared a little bit of that with Billy, and I thought that was awesome. And I think that that's one of the reasons also he connected me with you.
He was so excited on the phone.
Yeah.
He was like so excited to the point of, we were joking. I was like, I didn't really get a ton of details. He's like, Mark, she's incredible. And I was like,
I love that. And
I'm like, how are you doing?
Yeah. Well, what was funny is we were at the gala. We were there, and he goes, I'm going to call him right now. And I'm pretty sure it was you. I don't know if you remember getting a voicemail.
Yeah,
and
I listened to it later because I think,
He
because
put me on the phone randomly. I had no time to prepare for this. And he goes, hey, I'm just going to call him right now and schedule you to be on the podcast. So he calls, and I'm like, we're sitting here at a table, we're all dressed up, and we're about to have awards and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? And he goes, here, just, hey, I got somebody I want you to put on the podcast. Her name's Hannah. Here she is. And he's like, it's a voicemail.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, hey, I'm Hannah. I'd like to be on the podcast. Kind of just put me on the spot.
It always cracks me up too. I always feel really bad about this, but I swear it's like Billy has my schedule because he only calls me when I'm recording.
Of
and
course.
I think it's the funniest thing. I'll be
Sure.
in the middle of something.
That's how it works out.
And again, it's the same thing with my office phone.
Yeah.
No one's ever called it until I hit
You're
record.
sure.
And then and then they're like, oh yeah, why don't we just call for the next hour repeatedly? Cracks me up. Yeah, I know. I'm like, it cracks me up every time. Oh, what a good.
That's Chance. But
You know what though? He was right, by the way. You are incredible.
thank you so much, Mark.
Hey,
I really appreciate
Congratulations on everything you're doing. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing some inspiration.
Absolutely.
I wish you the best, of course. And then, let's
you.
do more fun stuff together.
that. Yeah, no, I'd love to come back on. We can talk about one wheels and electric unicycles.
I feel
and
like we should do a whole. I mean, I know we teased it. I would love that, and I would honestly encourage you to bring it with.
I was
you
gonna
if
say
you'd
we
be up
could
with it.
bring a one because we have 20 of them.
See,
we have a
I just
lot.
want to see them in person.
Yeah, I'll show
I'm
you.
very curious.
Yeah.
And what do you call the electric
The
unicycle?
electric unicycles are EUCs.
EUCs.
Yep. They're incredible.
I'm so. Oh my gosh, there's someone in my life. She will be very happy to hear.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
mean, we can ride them. You can get some content of us, riding through the parking lot or any of that.
If I can clear it, maybe we'll go through the store.
I'm down. Absolutely, we'll come here after hours and we'll do that.
That sounds
so.
good. Oh my
All right.
gosh. Well,
Well, thanks for having me, Mark. I
Oh my
really
gosh, it was
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. Yeah, really nice to meet you, Hannah. Hannah, this is great. I'm setting up a ramp outside in the parking lot right now for you and your husband to do tricks off of. I'm very serious about this. I will gladly get that set up. I think it's something we should definitely do here. Maybe we can trick Jungle into getting on one with us too. I think that could be kind of funny. Who knows? Well, hey everyone, I guess this is technically my holiday episode. So since we've got a pretty major one coming up here, happy holidays to all of you. If you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you're celebrating something else, let me know what you'd like me to say and the well-wishing end. It's been a great year. Thanks to everybody that's supported the show. Thanks to all of you watching online with us right now. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for following our new TikTok account at Jungle Gyms Official. I hope you've been enjoying the 12 days of Jungle Gyms that we've been working on. Let's give a shout out to Lucky while we're here too. I'm clapping for him. He's been killing it lately. I mean, it's a really busy time of year, but he still made a lot of time to help me produce all this great content, and I know you're all enjoying it. I'm thankful. I think you should be too. Oh, hey, and before I go, first off, leave me a little comment on the video if you're watching on YouTube along, which I'd really, really love it if you were. Tell me something that you're planning to do over the holiday season. You can talk about your New Year's Eve plans. I'd love to know. Maybe I'd even like an invite at this point. And also, if you haven't completed your shopping yet, now is the time. And conveniently, Lucky and I just produced a great holiday buying guide, good for any store, but guess what? You can get all of the things that we suggest right here at Jungle Gyms International Market. Very cool. All right, on that, I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.